Fans of the Horus Heresy, the demigod creations of the Emperor of Mankind and Legio XVII, thank you very much for joining me for an out-of-the-box review. And today we are looking at a Primarch, as you have probably deduced from my intro spiel. And today's Primarch is none other than, well, lives in this little box, and it is Lorgar, which comes in this rather nice box. And there we go, Lorgar. So yes, Lorgar Aurelian, Urizen, the Primarch of the 17th Legion Wordbearers. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to unbox this miniature. I've come by this miniature as part of a commission build that I'm going to be doing for a friend. So yeah, I thought it might be nice to share this miniature, so I don't often come by Primarchs. And just take a look at what's inside the box. So what I am going to do is I'm going to open this up, I'm going to showcase the parts off to you, we're going to have a look and see what the details are like, and also I will appraise the quality of this full resin kit from Forge World. And that's the plan. We have the Knife of Truth, or should I call it the Knife of the Word. And with that we shall gain entry to this rather handsome box. Lorgar, 15 plus, this is not a toy, unusual sort of spiel, and there we go. I do like these boxes. I've got a number of these in my collection. I'm still not sure what the best use for them is, because I've not thrown any away because they're so nice, but I've not either found a particularly good use. So, if we remove the lid, we see we have a sheet and a tray of parts. So let's have a little look-ski at the sheet first. Here is Forge World's studio model of Lorgar, and then we have a picture of him on the back. So first observation, maybe we don't have any instructions. This is going to be fun. Interesting point here before I get onto the parts. Most of the Forge World Primarch miniatures have been sculpted by Simon Egan. However, Lorgar, one of the early ones, was actually done by Edgar Skomorowski. You'll have to excuse my pronunciation. That was who designed this particular miniature, and I believe this was done as a physical sculpted model as opposed to a digital design, but I may be wrong there. So yeah, interesting a little bit about the heritage of this particular miniature. So we have a packing sheet and then a plastic tray of parts. So, when is this kit from? So this is post-coronavirus shutdown purchase, and indeed this was purchased shortly before the lockdown kicked in the United Kingdom where I live. And interestingly, I remember this date, the 11th of March. I remember that well because that was the first day I started to get symptoms of the mystery illness. Obviously it's some malign chaos influence. Right, a single tray of resinous parts, and in a new step, this is a new step, it has been sellotaped shut. So I wonder if Forge World has been having a bit of an issue with these popping open, and parts getting out and being damaged or lost in transit. So they've taped this one together. Okay, so we've got various bits. I think mainly we've got base and mainly we've got Lorgar. I think we should really try start with something significant, i.e. the body. Right, the body, or the torso of Lorgar. Wow, would you look at that? The detail on this is absolutely stunning. Wow. All the Kochizin runes worked into his armour. These very intricate prayer scrolls. Yeah, look at that. That's excellent. That's what's interesting for the design on his armour. I've been asked to repose this model, and I'm going to have some fun with that, I can see. But that's a discussion for another time. Even some of these very fine cabling details inside his armoured collar. Nicer cast, it's nice and dry. Maybe just a touch of cleanup here and there. But very nice looking piece, that. Excellent. And just look at the detail on it. This may have been one of the first Primarch miniatures to be produced and released, but by goodness me, it's standing up to the test of time well. Right, what do we have now? We have a selection of weapons and a leg, and an arm, and another arm, and the mighty Illuminarum. Illuminarum is Lorgar's custom crafted mace that was gifted to him by the Iron Hands Primarch Ferrus Manus. I'm sure, had Ferrus survived the Battle of Isfahan V, he would have rued the irony of his gift. So we have a hand. Right, so what's this like, casting-wise? There's a bit of flash and a bit of seam on the mace. We've got a series of shim-like constructions around the mace head, and that's to protect it in casting. I think I've spotted, we can see here, there is an air bubble that hasn't escaped in one of the tips of the mace. So what I'll need to do is I will need to reconstruct this before I clean this up, because I think if I clean that up, I would lose the end of the mace and it may never be found again. But if I fill it, or I don't know if I use superglue or Milliput to do this one, before I clean it up, it'll then be a strong single piece. So I'll use that trick there. We have his other leg. We have a bit of mold displacement here. And that's quite a bit. So that's going to take some very delicate work to sort that out. We have a similar sort of thing on the other side. So I anticipate cleaning up that leg is going to take me at least an hour, probably longer. Right, what about the hand? Another bit of displacement running across it here. There's quite a bit of flash here. Flash we just cut away. And that's mirrored in reverse on the other side. So a bit of cleanup to do here. And a bit of repair as well. Not too bad though. That kind of a leg, that's going to take a while, that. But it will fix, I think. We then have a cape, because all Primarchs need a good cape. Even the ever tactically minded Alfarius has a cape. Yes. And there's nice border detail. And as is Lorgar's habit, we have a whole bundle of prayer papers streaming from presumably the back of his armoured collar. And there's lots of bas relief detailing on those, which will make the whole painting process very straightforward, I'd have thought. I've been asked to pose this model in a position akin to the artwork on the front of the book Betrayer. So it's going to be an interesting one, and I anticipate a fair amount of leg slicing and then reconstruction of the detail with the green stuff. I do think I can do it. Okay, moving on to the next key. Here we have 2 pauldrons and the power pack for his armour. He has the standard Artificer armour style Primarch power pack, which is like a double stacked exhaust Mark II/Mark III power unit. We do like that. And as I mentioned before, this design is mirrored on a number of other Primarchs. So for example, Roboutier Guilliman, Alfarius, and so on and so forth. So it's a common theme through the non-Terminator style armoured Primarchs. So we have this absolutely fantastic book detail on one of his pauldrons. And it's almost like you can see these flame clasps that hold the book open on a particular page. Wonderful. And then the second one is like a forest of Colchizian runes, and runes within runes within runes. Brilliant. And more prayer papers attached to the underside of said pauldron. And the detail is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely stunning on those. Even on the inside of this pauldron, we have another little word bearer flame icon. Okay, then what's next? So I think we have one final key of detail parts, and then we'll move on to the base. Now, we have this, which is What is this? Oh, for a moment I thought this could be a book, but it's actually just a piece of resin key, which then here takes us to the fine detail parts. Now, the fine detail parts are as follows. I don't know what these are. Oh, yes, I do. These are the other mace head parts for Illuminarum. Yes, that's right. So it's going to like have a ball of spikes, very neat looking weapon. We have 2 flaming skull grazes. Suitably lovely. We have this, which is Lorgar's sidearm, which, if you don't know, is an Archaeotech pistol. A little bit of displacement across the cooling fins on the top, so that will need carefully cleaning up. But nice design, that. Yeah, I do like that. Very sci-fi looking, and quite unlike other Archaeotech pistols I've come across. And finally, of course, we have Lorgar's head. The face of the Urizen, or the face of the Aurelian, the face of Urizen. Now, there's no runes or anything sculpted onto his head. Not in the same way as the Colchizian runes are sculpted onto the head of Erebus. He's been left smooth, which I think is quite nice because it presents a modeler with an interesting range of options there, in that you could create a pre-Heresy Lorgar and have him maybe less runified, or do a post one where maybe he has all the runes marked over his face, or maybe he was always like that, I don't know. And he has quite a grave stare on his face, doesn't he? Maybe because he's contemplating his latest dastardly move in the Heresy. And looking at him, there's some interesting analogues in terms of design that spring to my mind. I can see a clear likeness to the face of Horus, another character series model. But there's also an interesting parallel with that of Corpheron. His, well, I could say adopted Colchizian father. I wonder if that is an accident or not. I suspect it isn't. But yeah, a great face. Okay, now moving on to the final phase of this review, we have some basing parts. So it seems that we have the standard sort of setup here. We have a scenic base, which is going to mount on this, which seems to be a 65mm Citadel round base. And then we have a gaming base, which is detachable from this one, and that's a standard 40mm GW round base. So what should we do? This is the main part of Lorgar's scenic base. And it depicts a series of steps with candles and skulls on them. Looks somewhat arcane. I wonder what's happening at this moment in the story. I was wondering if it could be a set of stairs descending into a certain Cadian temple where he followed Ingethel to witness a terrible ritual, but of course he's armoured here, so that isn't the specific event it's depicting. But you never know, there might be some allegorical reference there. But yes, many skulls. I suppose we should have skulls on the base of Lorgar, given his role in starting the Heresy. Onto that, or into here, is going to fit this section, which is, well, I don't know, it's not a pentagram, I don't know what you call it, it's a circogram of runic inscriptions of Colchizian, and therefore the ancient tongues scribed into its floor. Who knows what cosmic terrors or significance this may be calling to. Interesting indeed. Yeah, looks good. And again, we've got runes within runes within runes. Beautiful design. And finally, we have one last component, which is kind of like the holding on bit. So this is going to go here, and it'll hold that piece in place for display purposes. And this is a piece that I will magnetize, so it has a firm firmative fit and when he is set up for display, if someone picks him up, he won't drop out by accident. But yeah, common style of base design on the Primarch models from the character series. Very much seen this sort of thing before. A great looking model. Interesting observation here. Lorgar was always described as being the smallest of the Primarchs, and looking at this miniature, I would agree. I don't think he's quite as large as Magnus. Actually, Magnus is a bad example because Magnus is huge, but he's not as big as Dawn, I don't think. Is it just a little bit smaller? It's a cool thing to represent in the miniature. So, what do I think? Well, overall, casting-wise, that's pretty good, that. Probably very good overall. There are a couple of bits that will need fixing up, so in particular some of the rune work on that leg, and I got a little bit of that mace to fix before I trim it up, just to make sure I don't lose the tip of the mace. Not bad overall, not bad at all. And I'm really looking forward to doing this miniature, even though the reposing piece is going to be a challenge even for me. But that's something for another video. So that's everything I'd like to say about Lorgar Aurelian from Forge World's character series. I hope you found this an interesting video. Please do share your thoughts and observations about this model and perhaps your Lorgars in the comment section. As usual, I'll be very interested to hear. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.